What is going on, folks? I am Goat. Welcome back to Warframe Frame Builds. We're here to talk about Nova. God damn. Yeah, we're here to talk about Nova. Nova's really fucking good. Okay. Now, I was not necessarily a huge fan of Nova up until they did some tweaking and some moderate little change-ups here and there, like a fucking rework that we didn't even know was coming. And I mean to tell you right now, she's really fucking good. Now, Nova was good before, don't get me wrong. She just wasn't really my playstyle. Now, Nova is just like a fucking beast. So, we'll go for the usual. We have Equilibrium Shard, health. Believe me, health and max energy at spawn are not going to matter at all. Shield capacity also really doesn't matter, depending on what you're doing. And then energy filled at spawn. So, I have, I believe, 5 fucking builds for her. And you're going to notice a couple of them have, like, one of her crappier abilities on it. Specifically this one. Antimatter drop. Okay, I'm just going to cover it straightforward. Personally, I feel like antimatter drop does not scale worth a good goddamn in this game. It's like the one thing that they really just didn't make a whole lot better. So, yeah, sure. I mean, like, antimatter drop, it does damage, right? Sure, it does damage, but it's just straight blast damage. It's really just not that impressive. Even when you throw, you know, a buttload of ability strength into it, the projectile multiplier seems really good. And initially, at like starting gameplay on the Steel Path, it's fine. It just absolutely blows motherfuckers up. Hence why 2 of the builds have got antimatter drop on there. I believe it's 2 of them. Might be 3. I think it's 2. Because it works in conjunction to the subsume that is on the build. But no, it will not stand the test of time if you're running more endurance and more duration-based gameplay. I mean, it'll run you up level 2000 or so and be functional, but beyond that, it just kind of pisses them off and makes enemies want to shoot you some more. But we've got a Zada's build. Now, the Zada's build specifically goes hand in hand with your survivability is Null Star. Molecular fission is just kind of the way to rock using Null Star 99% of the time, because basically you get a kill and you renew Null Stars. Okay, so you just don't have to sit there and cast that shit. Zada's works really, really well with something like the Kuva Sobek, specifically running something like this. Okay, bunch of multi-shot, crux, you know, acid shells. Yes, I've got a Riven on here. It's just multi-shot, you know, and minus recoil and plus crit chance. It's really not that great. Okay, like, it's really, the Riven is absolutely unnecessary. You could do something as simple as, let's see here, Vigilante Armaments. You could throw Vigilante Armaments on there. You could throw another element on here if you wanted to. Really doesn't fucking matter. Yes, this is a toxin-based, you know, Kuva Sobek, specifically so I could make room for acid shells. So, I mean, yes, you could technically finagle around and find the right thing, but clip delegation is a good old fucking time, coupled with this whole setup of Zada's and damage vulnerability that you cast upon enemies with her 4, because Molecular Prime is absolutely Nova's bread and butter next to Null Star. Basically weakening the shit out of a dramatic encompassing area of enemies, and that encompassing area is based on duration. A lot of people get that shit twisted. It's basically the longer the ability is running, the further out it goes. Just saying. It's like the polar opposite of what you would expect, but it's absolutely functional. It's like I've talked about with Caliban's Sentient Wrath. It functions off the same, you know, duration-based mechanic as this ability here. This ability is purely devastating because it scales exceptionally well, just absolutely wrecks the shit out of enemies. Now, the Zada's build and the Breach Sword build in their present form are absolutely casual gameplay builds. Okay, 100%. You know, you're really relying on Arcane Grace, coupled with adaptation, coupled with, you know, keeping Null Star up to really kind of keep your ass going. Because as long as you have 9 Null Stars, you know, just warping the fuck around your ass, which I have 27, so that's not a problem. You have 90% damage reduction, and the rest are just gravy that seek out enemies. Now, for a more survivable setup, you can just go with something as simple as Eclipse. Now, you can obviously see that, you know, antimatter drop is not on this build, specifically for the reason that it doesn't scale. So if I really want to make sure excuse me, if I want to make sure that this build is far more survivable. And you'll think, Eclipse, why, right? Well, this basically puts you in like the 97% damage reduction range by coupling the 90% damage reduction and then the 75%, or the 75%, basically it just cuts down to 10%. So it basically puts you like 97.5% damage reduction. You just don't take a lot of damage. Just trust me, okay? But again, I mean, the build really doesn't differ all that much, right? Just doesn't. I mean, the numbers are the same. Everything's the fucking same. Breed Surge is where things get a little bit more funny. Okay, so this is a much more spammy type of setup. Basically, you use Molecular Prime, but then you prime a shit ton of enemies with Breed Surge. And then, yeah, antimatter, in between antimatter drop plus whatever weapons you're running, will basically just cause a radiation cascade of death across swaths of enemies. Roar is pretty straightforward. I mean, again, you know, a little bit more energy. We have Roar. This is basically, I'm going to kill you with fucking guns. Again, the build is identical to the Zadas and the Eclipse build. And then I've got this goofy ass build, because when I read the dev notes, okay, when the Nova rework happened and I read the dev notes, I got very curious with one of the things. Basically, when you cast Null Star, which thank God they made that recastable, but on the recast of Null Star, the mechanic in the game says that you're equipping a weapon. Okay, that sounds completely ridiculous because you're casting an ability. But it does open up for something very funny, which is my Neutron Boom build. So this is using Archon Vitality for heat, Neutron Star to apply heat procs to enemies that have been struck by Null Stars. Don't need actually a ton of ability strength with this, which is fine. But then we've got Vigorous Swap, so on weapon equip, okay, 165% damage for 3 seconds. Arcane Arachne, 150% damage to primary and secondary weapons for 30 seconds on a wall latch. Okay, so basically a quick wall latch, bingo bongo, here we go. And then, so basically, you wall latch, you recast Null Star, and these little fuckers seek out any enemy that's close, and it just cascades into a level of stupidity. Now, the thing about this build is that it is very spammy, okay, because everything fucking dies. So, and the duration is very, very short, so it doesn't reach out and hit near as many enemies. So you're going to be casting molecular, you know, Molecular Prime a whole bunch more. You're going to be casting Null Star a whole bunch. So having something like Nourish to actually apply a viral proc to the Null Star as well as a heat proc and a blast proc is pretty goddamn funny. Plus the energy regen in itself is pretty damn good too. Personally, I find that this build works, but it's much more of a meme build. So we're going to go with the Zadas build, because personally, this is the one I've been having the most fun with. Between having the Kuva Sobek and the Compressor Prime, coupled that with Zada's Whisper, and then the bullshit that Nova does, it's just a really good time. So, sorry for the ramble on. It's just a bunch of builds because of a rework, and it's a good time. And yes, I'm running Worm Prime, as you see, just for the simple status and vulnerability, or status cleansing that Worm Prime will give you with a mod. So, actually, here, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Bingo bongo. So, dude, they're already being afflicted with this shit, so they already don't like it, right? So we're just gonna come over here. Well, okay, that isn't what I was trying to do at all. So see, they don't like it, right? But the Compressor Prime also does some pretty devastating shit. But as you see, like, you know, Neutron Star isn't, like, amazing. You know, if you hit it directly onto an enemy, it does work a lot better. Oh, look, you're trying. You're really trying. Now, we'll go with the Kuva Sobek on this, right? See, it's upon death. That's the kicker, right? So we gotta get one to die. Now, you notice a whole bunch of them have got Zadas on them now. Like, nobody likes this. Here, hold on, y'all. I got to reload. It's this very methodical kill style of, you just need to die. Stop it. Stop it. Really? Stop it. Oh, there's still one over here? Oh, there's two over here. How you doing there? Not good, huh? Yep. I see this. Just die. I mean, like, it's pure map controlling. Now, can I get all bonkers and, you know, like, just speed them the fuck up and just have a good old time? Sure. Why did I just fucking do that? God damn it. Here, hold on. We'll just do this. Hi, ladies. How you doing? So, as you see, survivability really isn't much of a problem here, okay? I mean, again, these are 155s. These are not the 230s that I would normally test against. But, I mean, like, survivability of just being shot in the ass is not a problem whatsoever. But if you're going into higher content, something like Eclipse is definitely very, very helpful. Overall, I think Nova is a spectacular fucking frame and widely versatile to doing some really silly shit depending on what weapons you want to use, what kind of subsume you want to use, because again, you know, subsuming off Neutron Star is really going to be your best way, because Wormhole does have its applications of traversal or fucking with enemies or allies. But in the grand scheme of things, you know, as far as scaling stuff goes, I still say, you know, that Neutron Star is really kind of meh. You know, it's kind of the crap one out. It does its job, but it's not like phenomenal. So that's what I got. So folks, thanks very much for watching. As always, catch you in the next one. All right.